One extra letter ruined 4 days of my life, by user GayBatman75-6. I've worked in IT going on 8 years now in various roles, and over that time I've become quite superstitious. I will try to reverse psychology things into working, and you better believe I try not jinx things, but sometimes I forget and then the tech spirits humble me. Thursday at dinner with some former co-workers I was asked if I had time for one more beer, and without thinking I said yeah. Friday is basically a 3-day weekend for me since my workload is so light. HP Osidon must have heard that and decided to knock me down a peg or two. Friday morning, while sitting in my sweatpants at my desk, I get an email with an error message saying someone couldn't connect to our ERP. Our ERP is complicated. I was trained by a person who was not an IT person but doing the job, so I had very little knowledge on it, and it's running on HP UX, which I do not know at all, and the online documentation for is largely garbage. The error in question was a root out of space issue. I begin to investigate and quickly realize I can't SSH in and the server isn't virtualized, so I throw some cloths on the kid and drive us into the office. After a quick setup to keep my son out of the server rack, I start digging into the server and find that I have no idea where I should be looking or what the hell is even safe to delete. I start furiously googling only to realize half of the commands I'm given work in general Unix but not HP UX, which doesn't incorporate all of the flags for utilities like do and df. Thanks to ChatGPT and some very specific questions, I start finding what I'm looking for. Unfortunately, I would find out too late that just because I see a folder in / doesn't mean it's not in another LV. I delete some stuff, people can log in again, I look awesome for coming in on my WFH day, and people fawn over my well-behaved 2-year-old, I am a king among men. Saturday morning rolls around and I see an email saying the backup of that server failed. Fuck. I go to my computer and realize I can't SSH into the server again. Fuck, I didn't fix anything. What I failed to account for was that by the afternoon people had started leaving for the day, and so there were less users trying to log in, making it appear the issue was resolved. I had a quick chat with the president to find out I don't have an alarm code nor the key to get into the building, so it had to wait until after the weekend. Even worse, it wouldn't be until Monday that I would discover just how much I had actually missed, and worse, what I had just broken while trying to fix things on Friday. I stress all weekend and decide to come in with the first shift factory guys at 6 AM to get things fixed ASAP. I figured I could just repeat what I did Friday to get some breathing room and then keep digging. Nothing I do makes a difference and I flounder. Eventually I notice in / an innocuous file called N. I try to open it in 6 and find gibberish. It's also about 1.2 MB in size. I've found my culprit, and it had been there in the most obvious place it could have been. By this point I have learned that we have most of our OS install is spread across a bunch of LVs, so I find one with some good space, and move that file instead of deleting it. That would be the first smart move I've made. Instantly people can start access the ERP again, it works great. I FTP the file over to our Windows file share just in case. I find the extra N in our backup script causing backup to write a file to / and correct it, and I'm done. Or so I thought. An hour later I get an email saying a drive to a shared folder on our Unix box is no longer mapped. No big deal, right? I'll just go remap it. I try his credentials 100 different ways and it won't map. His neighbor is missing it too. An email comes in reporting another 2 people missing it. I'm still fucked. I check that I can ping the server and the user devices in both directions. I confirm the folders are still there, and that's the extent of my knowledge at the time. After some more ChatGPT conversations I learn about Samba and smb.conf. Since this is still a major prod issue, I reach out to my boss and say if he knows anyone that can help speed this up, that would be great. 3 separate people are as confused as I am because they all did Unix stuff years ago and don't remember it, let alone HP UX. I try to restore a couple backups to pull the files I have deleted and the backups are bad, add that to my list of modernizing our infrastructure. After many hours wasted on that endeavor I give up and decide to reconfigure Samba manually. After several more hours of googling and chatting I figure out how to determine where Samba is looking for our conf file, and through trial and error get it configured and working by 9 PM. I type up my RCA with a pit in my stomach. I have fucked up, causing 2 of prod issues that were almost a full stoppage at times. Not only that, but the solutions became obvious in a way that felt embarrassing for not getting to quicker. This morning I wake up to 2 emails. One from my boss saying great job for sticking with it and getting this figured out. We don't really have any good Unix resources, so you came through in a tough situation. Maybe we can get you some training and make you the Unix guy on the corp side of things. The second email was from the president of the company I support saying thanks for working so hard on the issue, making time sacrifices to get things taken care of. doing it cheaper since they wouldn't have had to pay someone to fix it, and they made the right choice in hiring me. At my previous job I would have been screamed at, sat down in stressful meetings explaining to people how I fucked up, and then criticized and beaten up over it. I hope my new employers all realize how much better I have it under them now. The Unclearable Messages, by user Davidre Photography. This one is short and sweet, but we'll tell it to anyone who listens. Introducing Violet, not her real name. Violet is a receptionist at the place where I work. She's a lovely person and generally good at her job, but sometimes I reckon if she walked too fast, you'd hear the loose change and rocks rattling around in her head. One day I had a call from Violet. She logged onto her computer in the morning and found a message on her screen that just wouldn't go away. There was no X button, no OK button, she couldn't drag it around because the cursor disappeared when she tried to put her mouse over it, and it persisted after a reboot. After trying some usual troubleshooting steps over the phone, I decided it was worth a visit to the reception desk in the next building. I get there, and I see exactly what the message was. It was a post-it note. Someone had stuck a post-it note to her screen. She thought it was an actual message on the computer screen and was concerned when she couldn't clear it. I told her what it was, we both had a good laugh, then I went back to the office. Fast forward to a few months later. She calls us up and says that there's a big icon on her screen, taking up about half the space. It's a stick figure heading through a door. I was going through potential solutions in my head and thought that the on-screen menu, which had an exit icon, had malfunctioned and was appearing at 10x the usual size or something. Confused I walked over, and I saw exactly what. It was an exit sign. A literal exit sign. The little green placard had fallen off the ceiling by the main entrance and someone had picked it up and placed it in front of Violet's computer screen so she knew it had fallen and would arrange to get it put back up. They had rested the placard on the bezel of the monitor so it was somewhat flush with the screen, and she thought it was something on her screen. Violet is still working here, though she's at the other site so I don't have much to do with her, but I like to think the people at the other site have similar stories to tell. Bluetooth Headset, by user Zork 1998. This is probably one of my best stories ever. I was still very young when this happened. I was 18 years old and worked at a local computer shop. You know, repair laptops and sell keyboards and stuff like that. But it's a small town so there is only one computer shop. The manager of the store left me there for the day, he had business to take care of. It was a Monday morning and this man in his 30s walks in. He has a brand new headset with him but I noticed the headset was cut. He cut the audio jack and split the two wires weird. So one side of the audio jack was plugged into the laptop and then he cut the cable. While wearing the headset on his head with nothing plugged he asked me why is his headset not working. I told him because it is cut. Someone cut the cables. Then he persisted on telling me that is how Bluetooth works and that I am stupid and he wants to see the manager. My manager arrived an hour or so later and told him the same thing. He still believes that this is how Bluetooth works. I wish this was a fake story but at the age of 18 I started having doubts about the human race.